Hello, my name is Ferris Khan, and I'm here to tell you why I believe that the Bronco Base two-door is a price hack. I ordered this, I should say, I reserved this approximately a year ago, July 14th, early morning of 2020. It is expected to be built on July 12th of 2021, so almost exactly a year later. I am going to pick it up at Village Ford in Dearborn, which is the closest dealer to the Ford World headquarters. I am wearing a antimatter blue shirt to match the vehicle that I picked, the color of the vehicle that I picked. You can see it's antimatter blue. I've been told, and I've actually seen on some F-150s, that the blue is actually a little bit darker than this in most cases. It is a base model that I got. And if we look at the price, it's $30,555. Antimatter blue, has the hard top. And the only other options that I got were the auxiliary switches and the roof rack. So that's the build that I got. I look at this like a Lego set, that this is kind of a base model that I can upgrade over time. I think one comment right off the bat, if you're looking at this view, is, wait, those wheels look small. Well, you know what? I really like the steel wheels. They are 30-inch tires. The Sasquatch, for comparison, is 35-inch tires. So there's a 5-inch difference there. You can see that there's a lot of gap in the wheel wells. However, I go on 5K walks and I kind of look for F-150s, and there are a lot of them around here in Michigan. And the wheel gaps, the wheel well gaps are pretty significant on, I would say, even the majority of F-150s. I'll get into that a little bit later, but I just wanted to kind of show you the build that I had is just over it's $30,555, as I mentioned. I want to go ahead and directly compare that with the Wrangler. So let's go. All right. So Wrangler, I tried to come up with a very similar build. The first thing I had to do is select a color other than white. White is no additional charge, but if you select something else, it is. They didn't have a very dark blue, so I went with the black, $245 for that. I also had to get the 3-piece hardtop so I could get the defroster and the windshield wiper. That was $1,500 for that option. The third thing that I had to do is get Sirius Xm, $295 for that. And this may be a surprise to some, but I actually had to get air conditioning for almost $1,300. So add that all up. I think that was all I had. Let's just double check. Oh, I'm sorry. One other note here. There's a $645 option to get keyless entry. The Bronco has it. The Jeep does not. If I were to select this option, I would have to get a package which would bump up the price of the Jeep even more. And I thought that was kind of unfair. So I'm just going to sort of consider this a standalone option, even though it's not, just to kind of compare apples to apples without bumping up the price of the Jeep too much. So when I do that, I get a price that is $33,725 plus that $695 that I talked about before. I'm going to go ahead and kind of share with you sort of a comparison directly of that. So let's do that. All right. So as we look at it, this is the model that I got. And hang on, let's compare it with the Jeep. When we look at it compared with the Jeep, what we see, if you include that $645 for keyless entry and kind of pretend that it's a standalone option, then we're looking at almost $4,400 difference. Even the base with a soft top and no defrost and no windshield wiper and no AC and and even in white, etc., is more expensive than the Bronco base. So right off the bat, head to head, we're looking at $4,400 difference in price. Now, let's kind of look at the window sticker. So I do actually now have a VIN and a window sticker. So you can see that $30,555 price. In this case, I stuck a canoe on top, thinking that maybe people will notice this sort of like a hat as an alternative to the big Sasquatch wheels. And I thought it was really cool how you can sort of tie these down in the front of the hood as well. Now, another way of looking at, is the base Bronco a price hack, is to look at the price increase between the 2-door and the 4-door. Now, as we're kind of looking at this, also keep in mind that as you go from the 2-door to the 4-door, it does go from manual transmission, which is what I'm getting, to an automatic. So there is a difference if you're kind of going auto to auto, but I want a manual, and the only way to get a 4-door is an automatic. So I just consider that an additional cost. Now, for the base model, there's a $4,700 difference between the 2-door and the 4-door. For every other trim, except for the first edition, there's only a $2,500 difference. And in the case of first edition, there's a $4,100 difference. So to me, what this is showing is the 2-door is priced artificially low relative to the 4-door at that base level. And then it sort of is in lockstep from there for all the other trims, for most of the other trims. Another way to look at this is if we look at it in terms of moving up the trim level. So if we go from the base to the Big Bend, or the Big Bend to the Black Diamond, etc. Base to Big Bend for the 2-door goes up by $4,900. Big Bend to Black Diamond for the 2-door is $2,600, etc. If we look at this chart, you can kind of see the biggest jump from one trim to the next, other than the first edition, is actually going from base to Big Bend, or from Badlands to Wild Track. There isn't so much of a difference on the 4-door. So again, that's sort of kind of telling you that the trim level, it may not actually be worth it to go ahead and upgrade if you're sort of trying to compare apples to apples, 2-doors to 4-doors, trying to do some analysis there. Again, it just looks like the 2-door is priced artificially low. All right. Let's actually go into, so I showed you the exterior. We kind of went over a little bit, a couple other notes, things that I really like. I love how this is blacked out. I also love how it's modular and it's really easy to replace. So if I want to make it a little bit more fancy, I can sometime in the future. No problem at all. The fenders come off. The wheels we talked about before. I want to tell you about what I'm going to do with the wheels. I'm going to probably drive on them right off the bat, but a little bit down the road, maybe a year, maybe 6 months, I will probably get a second set of wheels, sensors, and tires. And my logic is the tires are going to wear out half as fast if I have 2 sets of wheels with tires. So actually the cost of the tires is not going up. It's just the expense is kind of being pulled forward. It's only the wheels and the sensors that I'm sort of incrementally paying a cost for. And those wheels that I get, I'll probably get, bigger wheels and maybe fancier wheels, and I'll just swap them out. If it's the season where it makes sense for me to go off-roading, something to that effect, then I will have those mud tires. And for the rest of the time, where it's kind of a daily driver kind of scenario, maybe through the winter, et cetera, I'll have these tires. Either way, I'll be fine. The Bronco is so modular, but the wheels for any vehicle are even more so. The convertible Mustang that I have currently, I have 2 sets of wheels and tires, and it's working great for me. It's a great way to change the look without actually changing anything on the vehicle per se. Let's take a look at the interior. From an interior perspective, I'm very satisfied because I'm getting an 8-inch screen. I know the upgraded models have a 12-inch screen. but I currently in my Mustang, which is not that old, it's a 2016, only have a 4-inch screen. And Ford Pass compatibility shouldn't be an issue. Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, all of that's sort of taken care of. It has keyless entry. I can use Ford Pass remotely with it on my in my phone. So it has 2 digital screens. If you look at the transmission there, you see that there is it's a 6-speed manual transmission. It has that crawler gear, so that gear where it goes really slow and it just basically puts the torque in there. So you're able to sort of get through obstacles. It has that. Even the Base has that. Even the non-Sasquatch has that. So there's a lot to like with respect to this interior. It has cloth seats, but I expect my seats, or I expect to be dusty, dirty, et cetera. So I am probably going to put a seat cover on my seats anyway. So I don't really, it doesn't really bother me too much what the seats are. I just want them to be easy to clean. I mentioned earlier that I have a Ford Mustang convertible 2016 that I'm trading in for this. What I love about the Mustang is that it could start sprinkling a little bit, and even at a traffic light, I could shut that top. I can't do that here, so I am giving up something. Also, the whole roof is relatively heavy. It's a 2-person kind of thing, so I have to sort of make a commitment to either have the roof off or on. There are bolts involved, so it's probably going to be a 10-minute process for me. However, most likely in most situations, I'll just keep the roof on, and then there are panels that I can take off, and above the driver and above the passenger, I'll just go ahead and do that. And then once in a while, I'll just take off the doors for fun. It just seems like just such a fun thing to do from a kind of treating this like a Lego set perspective. One of the things I am giving up with getting a 2-door versus the 4-door is I can't literally put those doors in the back like I would with a 4-door. So keep that in mind if you are getting a 2-door. All right. So that's all I wanted to kind of share with respect to, kind of my rationale. Obviously, I am making some level of compromise, but I mean, I'm getting the touchscreen, I'm getting the AC, I'm getting the power windows, I'm getting the defroster, and I'm getting the 4-wheel drive. I should point that out as well. I'm getting a 300 horsepower. It actually matches my current Mustang in terms of horsepower, even though it's a relatively small engine. So I just don't see where I could go wrong. The other piece is depreciation. So I think I'll keep this for a while unless they have an electric version of this, coming up soon that makes sense for me. I'll probably end up keeping this for a while. It might actually be my last internal combustion engine vehicle that I buy. I believe the resale value will be very strong on this, and comparing to Jeeps, and also I think one kind of note, if you're thinking about resale value, there may be a difference between Sasquatch versus non-Sasquatch, but I'm not sure there's going to be that much of a difference, that you're going to get that money back that you're paying into getting the upper trim levels. I think especially at the base, in the lower end, the kind of the bottom half in terms of the prices for Broncos, I really feel like this is going to be very strong. It's going to have one of the highest resale values, and as a percentage. So I think, I'm buying it at $30,500. I should be pretty confident that it'll be in the low 20s. Maybe it'll depreciate 10,000 or less over 5 years, and I would be happy with that. Actually, it might even do better than that. Maybe I'm being a little bit conservative with respect to with those numbers. I might even be able to do a little bit better. Let me know if you think I've missed anything. I'd really appreciate any feedback with respect to this. Thanks for listening.